find your own voice lead from within. With me today is Carol Ann Cooper and Robin Snow. Robin, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. So my name is Robin. I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I own a kids yoga and mindfulness company here in Edmonton, where we go into schools and daycares and we spread yoga and love all over the place. Um, yeah, that's a little bit about me. I also have a kitty, and she's kind of wandering around my house, and she might be in the screen as well. I like to mention that just in case there's a floating tail across the screen.
How old is she?
She's 4.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, she still acts like a kitty, though.
Oh, she's a baby. Leave the baby alone.
Yeah.
Let baby be baby.
Yeah.
Over to you, Carol Ann. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Lovely, thank you, Namsa. And it's good afternoon from London, UK. And as the writing facilitator, what I do is I support women in becoming more productive with their writing by connecting them with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within and getting their story written, getting their book written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. So our topic today basically is all about mindfulness and meditation. And um, Robin, I know you chose this topic a long time ago. Could you please explain to the audience why you chose this topic and the benefits of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to mention before I say that, I'm just noticing a little bit of feedback. It's like a high-pitched squeaking.
I've muted myself. I'm
Okay.
going.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, so I mean the biggest thing I do this and work with this daily, and obviously working with children, we talk about mindfulness and meditation a lot, and how we can kind of use it throughout the day for various reasons. For children, obviously, there's many reasons. For adults, same. There are lots of benefits and reasons as well. So yeah, so that's, I mean, and I've seen the benefits of it. I think that was why I wanted to kind of bring some of my, I guess, wisdom and experience working with people with this, to show that, you know, over the long term, that there are so many benefits and there are so many positives to practicing it daily. And then also, I mean, just having the tools as well. So just being able to share some of the tools that I've learned over the years that might support somebody who maybe is going through something a little bit hard or intense, and doesn't know where to turn. So I think it's just, I think that was kind of my main intention, was how can we talk about, you know, this thing that is something that's free to do and easy to do, that could help support somebody. That was my main reasoning for choosing this as the topic.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for explaining to our audience. Do you have any comments, Carol Anna, you would like to add?
Yes, I love it because I think it's a great topic to discuss and help share with other people, and just bring that awareness of what is mindfulness and what is meditation. What's the difference between the two? But also, how important are they? And I know that I lived most of my life up in my head and daydreaming and not really present. And it wasn't till I started learning educational kinesiology and brain gym, but in particular, touch for health, which is another the courses I needed to do to become an educational kinesiologist. It was the Touch for Health courses that really got me in touch with my body, and I really started to become much more present. And it is, I think, we're so out of touch with what our bodies are telling us, that it is being able to come in touch with your body, come in touch with the present moment. All of these things have a huge benefit. So yeah, to be able to discuss various techniques or the benefits, I think it's a great topic. So thank you. What about you, Nomsa?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I like it when you say you all you most of your life you lived in a daydream, and I think everyone has done it. I think we all have done it, not living in the present. It's the present moment. Yeah, I think it's very, very important to actually um, live in the present moment, because when you are daydreaming, you can't fulfill your goals. You cannot write any goals. Basically, that means the life basically is staying still. So it's very, very important to find something to do. And we were doing, because I do exercises a lot myself, and I do meditation, but I do meditation in the Word of God is myself. So we were doing breathing exercises the other day, and music practice, and we had to hold on to our breath. So I hold on to like 172 seconds, and the guy goes, "How do you do that?" I'm like, I do run a lot, and the breathing exercises as well. It does help, because when you run, you have a habit that you have to a bit, and then when I come home, we meditate. So I was like, that's what helps me. And it was like, I had to stop because I was laughing. Everyone had stopped. So otherwise, I would have kept going. I looked around and everyone had sat down, because he was like, when you get out of breath, sit down. So I was the only one standing. And then I went to boom on the floor with laughing. So yeah, I think it's very, very important. Meditation is really, really important. It helps you to respond to stress. It's like now I'm moving house today, and I went online. I look at this website. I've never done it before. They're selling glamorous dresses, and I was like, I love these dresses. And when they arrive, and they're like, what the heck is this? The material is awful. So it's like some of the stress that I had to deal with, and also there are some things that are going on, little things. So I'm able to respond. My awesome biz coach says it's a practice of discipline. Yes, yes, I agree. It is a practice of discipline. And please share whatever you want to share with us, so other people can gain that experience if you have had experience with meditation. So over to you, Robin.
Yeah, I mean, so just I guess speaking to meditation and mindfulness, and kind of what Caroline was saying about the differences between the two. So one of the things that I often teach, I teach adults that are looking to teach kids yoga, but also children this as well. Meditation is not for everybody, and I say that because nothing is for everybody. And so when we talk about meditation, obviously, like lots of people that I worked with are like, I just can't sit down and be still, and I can't be quiet, and I can't let my brain quiet, and it's very hard, which it can be, especially if you're trying to quiet the mind completely, because our mind is always in a state of thoughts are always coming in. We're always kind of in this state of like free flowing thought. And the tricky part about it is learning to not get rid of the thoughts, which a lot of people think that meditation is. It's not to get rid of the thoughts. It's to kind of observe the thoughts coming in. And so it's less about sitting all calm and closing your eyes and being, in this complete Zen state where you're not thinking anything. It's really about acknowledging when the thoughts come in and letting them float away instead of kind of jumping down the rabbit hole with them and going in this spiral and having your thoughts kind of control you, right? So that's like the first, kind of classic definition, I guess, of meditation would just be letting your thoughts come in, letting them drift on by, versus mindfulness. And I often recommend mindfulness for anyone who, number one, feels like meditation isn't for them. And number two, for someone who's really busy, right? It can be really hard to incorporate meditation into your everyday, especially if you're feeling like I'm not good at this, or I can't sit down and try and do that. It's really hard. My thoughts keep coming up. So mindfulness is a great option for that, because mindfulness really truly is just being present. And you can be present in anything that you do, even your everyday monotonous tasks like washing the dishes, for example. That's probably my favorite time to use mindfulness, is just literally, what am I doing right now? Scrubbing a dish. My hands feel soapy, right? There's water on my arm or something like that. Just acknowledging everything that's happening in that moment, and almost like walking or talking yourself through that is a form of mindfulness, right? And you can use that to be more present in literally everything you do. And obviously you could choose moments where, like, maybe you're wanting to be more present with your kids or something like that. You can use it in moments where you're with people. But I find mindfulness, at least for me, the more often that I do it in those tasks where I'm zoning out, then I'm more likely to kind of zone in those important moments as well, and become more present in those important moments. And it's hard these days because of our technology. I find if I'm trying to be really present, really, I need to turn off my cell phone as well, because that can kind of remove you from that kind of present state, right? If that's what your intention is. Sorry, I just see like a message before there are various types of meditation. We meditate with direct purpose and prayer. Yes, absolutely. My name is Samantha, but I work for my boss, who's the awesome business coach. Her name's Bella. Thanks. Yes. Yeah, there are so many types of meditation. Carol Ann, do you have anything you want to add? Oh, I think you might be muted, Carol Ann.
Sorry.
You're muted, Carol Ann.
Sorry, it's okay. I was muted. Yeah. Yeah, I'm mindful that when I cough, I don't want to interrupt. So I mute myself and then forget to unmute. But so again, it is about just being in the moment, being aware, isn't it? But what you were saying, Robin, about people that find it hard to sit still and their minds are constantly on the go, definitely probably find that more hard to do meditation. And it's not about going, okay, I can't do that, so don't do it. It's just being mindful of what it is that stops you being able to be quiet or calm, or if there is fidgetiness in your body, you find it hard to sit still, just acknowledge it. Just acknowledge it and just be present to it, and let yourself have a bit of fidgetiness, and there are actually different types of meditation. And I remember once, I just suddenly remembered, many years ago now, I went on a day where we did lots of different types of meditation. And some of them were not just sitting still. Some of them were moving meditations. So find one that actually suits you. Because it is the technique, and as you were saying, Robin, the difference between the two. Meditation is the awareness of no thing, allowing things to come in and just go out. So you're not aware of anything in particular. Whereas mindfulness is the awareness of something. So you're present to, oh, You might have touched something hot. Oh gosh, that was hot. Or you hear something. You're aware of it. So you're aware of something. And I just love that basic distinction between the two. So, you know, when you're walking, you could create mindfulness in that. It's about being present. But within that, there's like a form of meditation. Somehow you're just calming yourself down. You're being in nature, just going for a walk. But when you're walking, become aware of the breeze, the wind. Can you feel it on your skin? Can you feel it on your back? I know when I'm walking and I feel the wind, it's like, oh, that feels nice. Or I could perhaps feel it pushing me forward if it's quite strong and it's on my back. You know, whereabouts is it? Where's it coming from? And if the sun is shining, if there's some heat, be aware of that heat. Be aware of, you know, things moving around. Looking up, look at the sky. What's happening up in the sky? Yeah, and what can you hear? And just keep asking yourself, well, what else can I hear? Well, what else can I hear? And it really brings you into the present moment and helps you to be mindful. And just allowing your thoughts to be there with you. But this is a way of actually helping yourself to also settle down to some work. So go for a walk, a mindfulness walk, I like to call it, you know, and then come back and settle down and do some work and see how much more creative you might become or productive. Because while you're walking, your mind, I always find my mind, ideas come. So maybe just have something that you could record to as you think about them or write them down. Because I know sometimes I forget them when I've got home, but they will come back. If you thought about them, then they've come from you. They will come back. So yeah, walking is an important exercise, and you can do it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, build up. If you find that it's too much to do in one go, you know, too long a time, start with a short amount of time and just slowly build up. But quite rightly, what is it Samantha was saying, it's a practice of discipline. It is disciplining yourself to do it regularly, being consistent. And that's something that I'm working on, being a bit more disciplined about going walking. And what I've now thought is if I don't fancy going out, I could go in a back garden, because we've got some beautiful trees in the back garden. So I'm already in nature. It's quite a fair sized garden. I could just walk in a figure of 8, set myself a timer of 5 minutes and just have that discipline and just let myself walk for 5 minutes. And walking in a figure of 8 is actually a healing as well, because that shape, if you want to look up Tibetan 8s, it's a very healing shape. And I know I've used it over aches and pains on my body, just put a figure of 8, you know, over something that's hurting. It's amazing the healing that happens. So that's something I've set myself to do, and I need to do it a bit more regularly. But certainly find what works for you. And coming from mindfulness, you might then be able to find some meditation that works. But don't make yourself wrong. It's about being non-judgmental. It's about just allowing yourself to be. Because what you were saying, Nomsa, about breathing, and if you can really let your breathing become more settled, so that you're not doing lots of breaths in a minute, the less breaths you do in a minute, the more settled you are. And actually it tells the part of your nervous system, it's called the parasympathetic nervous system, it says, oh, you're safe. And so it can settle down. So it is stopping that fight or flight if you can control your breathing. What do you think, Robin? You probably know all about that.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I was just kind of reading some of the comments there. So talking about how meditation is a type of transcendency and being careful, and yoga as well.
I
Yeah,
think
so
I responded to Padma. She's saying hello, good evening from India.
yes, hello. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to make a comment about those messages there. So meditation can be a form of transcendency. I think it depends what your goals are. There is like transcendent meditation, where you're specifically looking to dive deeper into like universal energy, etc. So that would be, that form potentially you're maybe attracting various energies. But normal everyday meditation, when you're, for example, like Caroline was talking about with the breath, with even movement meditations, yoga is considered a movement meditation, guided visualizations, body relaxations, all of those things are really just a tool to get into your own body and observe your own experience. I mean, I don't believe that you're pulling in other energies. I think that, you kind of come into yourself more so. You're kind of becoming more aware of your own internal environment. And I think obviously if you're going in with the intention of drawing in outside energy, that's kind of your own thing. But otherwise it's more so about, really tuning into kind of the currents that are happening within your body, within your mind. And then also with yoga, you were talking about that it aligns with a particular belief, which, depending again on your intention behind it, lots of people that practiced yoga kind of in the original state of it, especially in places like India, and places like Tibet, where yoga kind of was coming up at that time. Obviously, it aligned with a particular faith. And there is yogic philosophy that goes in hand with that. And so people that are looking for that intention, for example, like mantra, is a perfect example of that. Mantra, specifically in its Sanskrit form, were originally prayers to like deities and gods and things like that. However, yoga in its form today, especially in the Western world, and it really depends, again, it really depends on your intention. There are lots of people in the Western world that still treat it as like that very sacred religious practice. However, it has transformed into so many ways. And specifically, the yoga that I teach is really just, a meditation in movement. Right. And I kind of tell this story all the time of like when, the actual yogic postures came in to yoga, because yoga originally was just considered a seated meditation practice. And the monks were getting inertia, they were getting uncomfortable because they're sitting all day, and constantly in that one state. So their bodies started to be affected. And so they added in the physical postures so that they could continue to meditate while moving. So like Caroline was saying, that walking, that's totally like, again, a meditation and movement, and yoga, a meditation and movement. And so really just tuning into the body, tuning into the breath, right? And I often mention this in my classes as well. If you just do the poses on their own, you're just doing gymnastics. Basically, you have to include that of mindfulness, that awareness, that breath work as well in order for it to be a meditation. And I totally, alignment of self, awareness of self. One of the quotes that I've heard many, many times is yoga is a journey to the self, through the self, to know the self, right? And so that's truly, at least from my perspective as a yoga teacher, that's how I view yoga. And obviously teaching kids, in particular, we don't talk religion, we don't talk yogic philosophy, we don't go, back into kind of those original, I guess, intentions for it. And it's more so just a journey. it's just a journey within the self, an alignment of the self, as you said. I don't know if you want to add anything, Nomsa.
Okay, I think I'm gonna agree with the awesome bees, with the attracting energy. I think the yoga, there are some. I did listen to one of the pastors. Basically, he was talking about how energies come in different forms. Mostly people who are doing yoga, and there's so many things. They come in different forms. So you have to be aware. And those, like if you're doing yoga and candles as well, different energies will come in through the candles. So you have to be aware of those kind of energies and what kind of energy do you want to be. Do you want them to attract them, or do you just want to send them away? For me, when I'm doing meditation and I'm using the word of God, I can feel it coming in. I then have to turn it off and tell it to go away, because it's mostly Satanism, and I just have to say just draw, and you can feel it when it comes in. But some people don't feel it. That means it stays, and that's why sometimes you find the people they start things, or they'll say I'm starting yoga and or meditation, and they don't finish it, or they just stop and then they go into depression, and that's where those energies, they cause the depression and they cause stress. So you have to be aware, and you have to find somebody meditate. It's somebody that teaches meditation that will be honest with you. So I actually agree with him when he says it does attract energies. Yes, that's true. I have experienced it myself. And sometimes, like now, if I can go and say I'm meditating, there will be another energy that comes in. Or sometimes it's other gods as well. It depends on with the music that you're playing. So you just have to tell them off. And when you tell them off, they go away. So, and that's your boss is telling the truth. And so I can testify that that is the truth. So it depends with what you want benefit. So that's why when you see meditation on YouTube, you have to be you have to know, because there's different meditation. And you can Google YouTube and go on YouTube. There's so much meditation out there, and some of them is mantras. Some of it's just different. So you just have to be careful which one you use, because you will connect yourself to another world spirit, and that is the truth. I've experienced it myself, and I have had to seek help basically because I couldn't understand it. But now I am aware. I trained myself, my mind, to actually, when I'm doing meditation, uh, to feel it when it comes in. Then I have to control it. But there are some people that don't feel nothing. They're just some of the energy is very manipulative. It comes in and gives you joy, gives you the excitement where you want to do it more and more. Is so different. So that's why I'm gonna say to the people, the audience, and mostly for Christians, that you have to be careful of which meditation you're using. For me, basically, I meditate with the Word of God, and I meditate mostly with the other music. There are some meditation where you can just focus and use it's music, you just listen to music. But it's not easy to stand still, like what uh, you were saying, Robin, turn your phone off. I've trained myself, but not with the meditation. That the phone is not my priority. When I'm doing something, even if somebody calls me, I would not pick up the phone if I'm in the middle of doing something, unless if I know that it's an emergency. So I've trained myself that if somebody send me a message, I have to look at it and then finish what I'm doing, and then switch off, and then I go to the next project, because the phone are very, very distracting. So that idea of Robin is switching off your mobile phone when you're doing it, make sure you do it. Or sometimes you can just practice, just normal, natural, to actually not to use your mobile phone. You start by social media. Just train yourself. Just to put, because the phone is very distracting. Even when you get up in the morning, the next thing we do is to look at our phone. You want to work or you want to do something. It's like checking if I got any messages. So Robin, you're right. It's very very distracting. And Carol Anna, you are saying use what suits you, and Robin was saying meditation is not for everyone. I actually agree. There are some people that will not stay still. I was one of those people that, but what I did, I started with the breathing exercises, like the vocal exercises. I started with my breathing exercises. They just not making it wrong like Carol and if I'm having bad day to continue and to stay focused. I will be aware of it. Maybe write it down your struggle that this is what I'm struggling. So you are aware and then you can go back again and practice whatever you struggle with it and until you have to do it every single day. Basically, if you want to benefit, to basically get benefit out of meditation, you have to do it every single day. I meditate with the Word of God 20 minutes. I have different meditation that I use. I meditate when I have stress, like I meditate and I look at my life and I use meditation for to connect with my inner child. I use meditation I use different meditation basically to break the chains. Like I look at my life and when things are going on, like right now I'm moving, there's so much stress and there's so much expectations. When those expectations are not met, there's a disappointment within. So I use the meditation to get rid of disappointment in my life. So you have to do it based on your beliefs and be aware of not attracting other energies. And that's why so many people when I came to the UK, I never got into depression, but I started getting into depression, like to start getting like the anxiety in my head, and I was like, I never got to do this. I've never felt it this way. What is going on? And then I realized that so much energy. There is so much energy, mostly in uh, everywhere on earth. So you just have to be mindful of what kind of a meditation you are using, and who is basically helping you to use that meditation, their past and stuff. Because some people, they do different energies, and those energies will come back and they'll give you problems. So you just have to be aware of that. Over to
Yeah, I
you.
think there is. It's all about awareness and and about just transcending. You need to be careful because you're attracting various energies. Yes, that can happen. And for me, the way I work is if I start attracting those energies, and there's something in me that needs resolving, needs looking at, because I'm attracting them. I have stopped playing victim and saying, oh, they're coming to me, they're coming to get me, and I have no power over it. Reclaim your power and go, okay, what in me is attracting this energy? And then do something about that. Go in, work with that, such that those energies can't touch you again. But it is about being aware. And I think if you live in a fearful state about, oh my goodness, am I going to attract these energies? Fear will attract them. Because if you're in fear, you're living in that lower vibrational energy, which attracts these energies that you don't want. So if you can meditate, you can have mindfulness. Yes, I love what Padmaja said, that you experience a calming through having mindfulness or meditation. And it is that calming because what's happening is that you're not closing down into the brainstem, into that fear, fight, flight part of your brain where those reflexes are, where those programs are that hold you in fear. It's being able to feel the emotions. And then you move up into the higher cortex, where you've actually got access to clear logical thought and reasoning. And you can actually, your eyes and your ears are functioning. Because when you shut down into the brainstem, you find your eyes aren't working, your ears aren't working, you're not hearing properly, and there is a fearful state. So if you're in that state, you will attract these entities. And by doing mindfulness, becoming present, doing meditation and calming down, you're actually then able to find your voice, able to find what it is you want to say, and be present. You're able to see what's actually here. You're aware of what's here. And you can then choose what to do and respond rather than react. Oh goodness, don't know. You respond. And I remember there's a particular activity that we do in Brain Gym called hookups. And I often, when I first learned that, and I was working on myself in various ways and unlocking various memories or pain, I would sit in hookups and I could feel myself just closing down. I would become aware of really dark, heavy energy that was wanting to shut me down. But because I was sat in hookups, I became an observer of it. And I would sit, and sometimes I'd sit for quite a long time, for hours in there. I didn't allow myself to become wrapped up in it or for it to take hold of me. I observed it, just went with it. And eventually, it was like something switched and I sort of come out of it. And all of a sudden, I'd be awake and I've had way more energy than I had before. And my thinking would have shifted. I see a different perspective. But I allowed myself to be that observer. And yes, there are some very dark energies that attempt to grab hold of you. But if you can be aware of them, have these techniques that can help you to be aware, then they'd have no power over you. They will go and you can move forward. And so it's finding which techniques suit you. And if something does, you feel like something's attached itself to you and you're reacting, as I say, what I do is I look to myself. What was it that attracted it to me? How has it become attached? What is this attachment? And by working on that, it releases it and lets it go. And you find that then that doesn't happen again. So yes, be mindful and be aware of if you're in fear. Release the fear. Find a way out of the fear so that you can be in love. Because when you're in that loving state and you come from the heart, what I realized is nothing can touch you. Nothing. There's an inner strength that you have that nothing can knock you over. Whereas when I was in that fearful state, I'd be knocked all over the place, and I'd be knocked down. Whereas now, when I can get back to that place in my heart and come from love, it's like I'm so grounded, so present. It's like nothing can touch me. So these techniques are techniques to support you in that journey through from the darkness to the light. That's how I see it. And definitely what you were saying, Nomsa, acknowledge any struggle, write about it. The power of words, the spoken word, the written word. Again, it's about what's your intention with doing yoga, with doing meditation, with doing anything. Be aware of your intention. What words have you said? And therefore, what have you attracted through your words and your intention. Because if sometimes we're not specific enough, but actually the universe will give us an answer. And it isn't always what we think it should be, but it is an answer. There's something else I want to say, but it'll come back. But it's fine. There's a quote. My eyes aren't seeing it at the moment. But Robin, is there anything you'd like to sort of follow on with that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, I think it really comes down to your intention. And I mean, because like in my experience, like obviously if the intention is to go really, really deep in that transcendental meditation, then like, of course, there's going to be things that are, you know, other energies and things that come in. I'm also a Reiki practitioner. So like I am used to like channeling certain energies. But you know, just, you know, kind of your everyday meditation and your regular, like, I don't want to say regular, maybe is maybe not the right word, but your meditations with the intention of, you know, calming yourself, like Padma just said, or kind of bringing yourself back in and tuning in. I guess I just don't, that experience of like having those energies kind of coming in is not something that I've ever worked with in meditation. It's not something, I don't go in with the intention of kind of drawing in external energy. It's more so of a viewing of the mind and the body and the state that it's in. That being said, for, you know, my Reiki practice and for, you know, my everyday life, because I'm sure you guys have experienced this, just people hanging out with certain people, they can kind of become energy suckers, I call them, of like just people in your life maybe that when you hang out with them, you kind of feel drained. You kind of feel like your energy is gone, or like maybe that they're affecting your energy as well, just in their normal state of existing. And there's techniques that you can use, you know, that help support you in that, so that you're not kind of allowing people to absorb your energy or like kind of take away from your experience of life. And so at least for me, I found this, it's called, I call it spiritual hygiene, because it's kind of like cleansing your own energy before you even start your day, and kind of creating almost like a light shield around yourself to block out, you know, the energy suckers in your life. And so I kind of do this thing in the morning, and obviously you could do it before meditation if you're really finding that there's, I don't know, otherworldly presences that are coming to you. If you're finding that that's coming, then this would be a great technique to use. Would be kind of envisioning, you know, a white light shield kind of starting from your feet, coming up the body, around the head, and kind of encasing you in this light shield. And then usually I'll envision it kind of going 6 feet above, 6 feet below, 6 feet in all directions. Because for many people, I don't know if you guys know this, but your heart energy actually expands even further than that. Sometimes 20 feet, your energy expands outwards. And so obviously we're all going to be commingling with our energies constantly, right? And so the best way to kind of protect your energy and protect the way that you're feeling in those moments, you know, without picking up other people's emotions, without picking up other people's kind of viewpoints and feelings, you know, this is a really great tool to kind of to protect that, so that you're not coming home at the end of the day totally upset or stressed out when it has nothing to do with you, because you've kind of absorbed the people around you and all of the things that they're dealing with. I find in particular people that are empaths. So I find for me, this is quite the struggle, being an empath and kind of feeling other people's emotions in such a deep way that this is a great tool that I use constantly that helps to kind of protect my emotions, protect my energy. So when I come home, I'm not completely zapped, right? I don't need, like, I can still, you know, kind of reabsorb and kind of come into myself through meditation, through mindfulness. But this is a great way of protecting it so that you're not just completely burnt out and your energy's all over the place. So I definitely recommend that as kind of a tool to use if you're finding that there is something extra to your meditations, that it's not just about calming the body, calming the mind, coming to that state of relaxation. If you're finding that when you're hitting a state of meditation, whether it be, just a regular mindfulness of being present, or whether you're doing something further and deeper like transcendental meditation, that you should definitely have that protection, that you should definitely be aware of the way that you're showing up in that, if that's your intention, right? If your intention is just to calm the body, calm the mind, I don't feel like that experience will necessarily come in. But if you're doing it, like Namsa said, where you're specifically, your intention is to work with, a God's energy or something like that, you're literally asking, come to me, bring to me, I want this, right? I want this specifically, but you're calling in energy. And so if you're specifically calling in energy, even if you're looking for one in particular, your intention is still calling in energy. So of course things are going to come to you, right? So if your intention is just to calm the body, calm the mind, and, maybe even in a state of devotion, right? As opposed to calling in an energy of a God, then it's going to be a different experience than when you're like actually asking for something extra on top of that. So anyways, using that technique I find really, really helps just in my everyday, but for sure if that's the type of meditation that you're looking for. I don't know if you have something to add, Nomsa.
Oh yeah, that is true. That's what happens, Robin. Basically, when you pray, basically you pray to God to connect with God and for God to basically come and maybe hear your prayers or want healing or you want to basically for Him to intervene in that situation. Obviously, you're right, there's gonna be loads of gods, but you have to be specific. For me, basically, I can feel it that when it comes in, then I don't take it, I just have to cut it off and just get out. I remote call you, just get out. So the good thing about energy is you when you tell them off, they go and they won't. But there are some energies, basically some other gods that can manipulate you to think that they are this god that you're calling. So if you're calling Jesus, you have to be specific that who are you calling, because there's loads of gods, really loads. So you have to be really, really specific and it's something that you have to practice. It's a long story, something that you have to practice every single day. I didn't know how to do it myself. That's why I think when you're doing meditation, for me, basically everything that I do, I always like to do it with a professional. Like Robin, she's a yoga teacher. If I'm gonna do yoga, I don't do yoga. If I'm going to do yoga, I like to do it with someone professional. It's like I have when I'm praying, I have pastors that help me to pray, to understand, I ask questions. And sometimes like, I just ask, what does this represent? So it is nice if you're doing something, have that person that has experience so you can actually communicate with them. That's why when I was saying it, that's why so many people are into deep depression is because of all these energies. There is so much energies that are around that basically for me I didn't realize and I didn't know how to control it. So that's when I had to find somebody that I trust, somebody that does not want power, because most of, like, let's say Christians, there are some people, pastors, that wants power. So the more God comes into them, the more they want to connect with them because it makes them stronger. So you have to find somebody that basically uh, does not want power. They just want to pray, or you find it like a yoga teacher or somebody who is very experienced with meditation, they become your coach. Even if you're doing little things, you need somebody that can guide you through so that you don't connect. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know that I was connected to something until I realized that actually. And then I spoke to my pastor and he was like, yes, there is something that is on earth that basically connects to people, and this thing is this. And I started explaining, and I was like, what? So it was like, you just disconnected yourself to that thing. So I was like, that thing, I don't even want to say it. And I was like, okay. But like what Carol Anna was saying, like you feel dark, heavy energy. But for me, it manipulated me. I felt like this amazing. There was so much joy that I was like, this, I've never felt this way. This is weird. Until I questioned it, like Robin was saying, until I questioned it, then he spoke. And then I was like, just get out. God does not do this. Jesus does not do this. And then I had to get somebody to teach me. So if I'm doing meditation, I have someone experienced who can tell me more about meditation. Yoga, you need a teacher, basically an instructor. Everything you do, they're not expensive. You just need somebody. They give you like Robin, you are a yoga teacher for children. You have your own the children that are regular, which you give them discount, or basically you know they're your student. So that's what I do. I'm a student to somebody else, a relationship coach. I'm a relationship coach, but I'm a student to somebody else, a relationship. I'm a student to a pastor, somebody who is a pastor. I'm a student to this one. I don't like doing things on my own. So I look at my budget and I look at things, what I want to achieve. I don't like starting things like doing it for fun. I like to have the experience and at the same time do things right. So that's all the advice that I will advise you. Like for those who love meditation, just get somebody to teach you how to meditate properly. There's laws even here to go to talk shows. We have yoga teachers, we have meditation coaches, so you can connect with them. Or if you don't want to go with Ngozi talk shows, you can go to other people like Carol Ann as a writing facilitator. You've done loads of training with the brain. There's so many things that actually when I was taking your challenge, it made me realize actually subconsciously I was awake, but I was sleeping. There's so many things that when we were doing exercises, I was like, I love writing. Why did I stop writing, like taking notes and doing things? So many things that I had to actually, that had to raise the awareness. Like Robin, you are a yoga teacher, you know what I'm talking about. That basically subconsciously you can be a walking dead zombie, that basically you create goals and sometimes you forget about things that you've created. So that's why I'm saying for those who really, really want to achieve something, get somebody professional, work with them. Carol Anna, I basically, you've helped me a lot with your brain exercises. I do brain exercises and then I realize there are things that I used to do, but subconsciously I've gone to sleep. I'm sleeping and I need to be waking up. That means I need to do exercises, specific exercises. And when you go to sleep subconsciously because of these energy, whatever they are, you basically it stop you fulfill your purpose. Basically, it will stop you being creative. It stop you so many things. But if you have somebody that knows, like a yoga teacher, yoga basically is to raise a mindfulness, is to raise you be in the present moment, your mindset, everything. So I'm talking from the experience, the journey that I had to go through uh, in life. Because what my boss was explaining to us. She teaches students the difference. She says it because we're in the world of so yeah, we are in the world of so many things. And for me, basically, that's what I used to do things, but without awareness of it. Like if I see Robin, she's doing yoga, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna go on YouTube and do yoga instead of actually going to Robin and say, Robin, what is the proper way of doing yoga? Honestly, there's so many things that goes on in the world, like so much energy, so much. So if you don't have that awareness, you need awareness, and then you need great teachers. And for me, basically, I'm not basically experienced with all these energies with what, but I speak to people that have experience and tell them I need to do things properly. I don't want to go to no depression. I don't want to subconsciously go to sleep. I don't want to do that. So you have to. That's why these coaches are for, and also they need to explain to people that I can help you, and not going on YouTube and say, okay, she's doing yoga. Just have her maybe one lesson a month as your guidance. And then things work. I basically, Carol Anna, you have no idea the help when we were doing brain gym, how much awareness you made me aware. There's so many things that I'm working, I'm thinking, I'm really, really basically with my goals. I'm doing everything, but then I realize actually I'm sleeping. I could be, there could be more in me. So that's my story.
I love it. I love it because it is about us waking up. And what I've realized is there's always another level of waking up that can be done because we are, we're all sleeping in one form or another. We're not present. We're asleep. And it's about waking up. And that is what this planet is going through at the moment. It's what's called the Ascension program. It's about expanding consciousness. It's about us waking up to what our true potential is. And so I've been waking up and hadn't realized how asleep I was. And then something else happens and it's like I wake up again and it's like, oh my goodness, there's always another level of waking up that can happen. And that's the journey. And it's enjoying the journey. It's being on the journey. It's allowing yourself to be in that ebb and flow with the journey. But certainly what you were saying, Nonsa, it is also realizing you do not have to do this on your own. And actually sometimes, yes, it's important to get that support because they can hold that space for you. They can just gently guide you through whatever it is you're going through and give you those tools and techniques to apply so that you can then wake up even more. Find yourself moving, taking action in ways that you just thought, well, didn't think I could do that. And so what I've come to realize, because for me, writing is not something that I've always enjoyed or done naturally, as a matter of course. I mean, even yesterday, there was something I saw on telly. It was a little mathematical problem, and I'm there, and it's like, oh yeah, using a bit of algebra, got to sort it, and I'm excited because that's what I love doing. And it's like, yes, sorted it, and I am attempting to bring that level of want to sort this out, I want to get this done, I'm curious, and that joy and excitement of achieving it and bringing that into writing, because I know there are people that love writing, and I also know that I can take that love to another level with the work that I do, and it is a healing journey, and really that's my focus because of all of the different trainings I've had and the different experience that I've got. It is about it being a healing journey and noticing the struggle that you have with writing, or even, sometimes it might be easy for you, but there's a little bit of, well, something's not going quite right. There's some healing that can happen there, because there's an inner child that actually is still stuck. And it's working with that inner child. It's working with those limiting beliefs, those decisions that you made at the point of something. Those decisions were made to keep you safe in that moment. And then it becomes a belief because you continue with it. But they become outdated and they no longer serve you. And actually they start working against you. And so that's why I don't use the term self-sabotaging. It's just things that have become to a point that no longer serve you and that actually work against you. And it's recognizing that, becoming aware of that, and then clearing that, transforming it, reframing it, whichever is needed to be done in that moment. And yes, we're, as it says, because we are in the world of so many things. Absolutely, Samantha. There are so many different facets to us. There are so many different facets to events that we experience, traumas that we have. And so therefore, there's lots of different techniques that we need to use to bring everything together, because we become so scattered. You know, a traumatic event can just scatter us. I hadn't realized how much until I actually started going back to some of these traumas, these events, and that many times. That is just another aspect, another perspective. And it's like, oh, it's another piece coming back into wholeness. So for me, my journey with writing, because I do keep going, but I'm not just about writing. I've realized that actually I am about healing. It's that healing journey through writing. And I'm getting an awareness, I'm waking up to, there's a power here that I have not been aware of before. And I'm just beginning to wake up to it. So, yeah, just watch this space. We'll see where it takes us. So you've got more waking up that you want to do, and recognize that the universe will be nudging you. So anything that you find yourself struggling with, it's a nudge from the universe to say, hey, wake up call, it's happening here. And they start quite gently to start with. And if you don't listen to them, they get even stronger. And again, I think something like you do, Robin, with yoga helps you to be with those awarenesses and wake up to what are these nudges. What do you think, Robin?
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna kind of add in, and I've completely lost my train of thought.
Okay, so let the train come back.
Yeah, so I mean, I was thinking about when I teach kids yoga, and we do a lot of, like, you know, meditations, obviously, a lot of guided visualizations where we're kind of imagining different scenes and experiences. And this is my point, is the brain doesn't understand whether we're doing something or we're just imagining doing something. And so the brain is to the brain, it makes no difference. And so when we do things like guided visualizations as a part of our meditation, where we're like, let's say, going on a journey on a cloud and we're kind of floating around in the sky. When you're envisioning that, it makes no difference whether you're actually doing it or you're just imagining it. The brain experiences it the same way, the same neurons fire, the same synapses, everything's, you know, still firing in the same way. And so I often like to talk about this as a part of your mindfulness and your meditation practice is, you know, being really intentional about what it is that you're kind of envisioning, because I find that, you know, a lot of people worry. It's a common thing in our world. And I find that this technique, and telling people this, is like, it just shows you how hurtful worrying can be for the brain. And I always say this to people that when you worry, you suffer twice, because your brain experiences it once already when you're going through all of the possibilities, all the negative possibilities of what can happen. And so then you experience it a second time if it happens, right? If something happens, you kind of suffer again. And that's why I think it's really important that you bring in practices like meditation and guided visualizations, because if you don't, right, and you're focused on all these negative things and all of these, the downsides, let's say, or you're worrying constantly, then your brain is just experiencing that, and you're just going to keep attracting negative experiences into your life as well. And so, so I always just kind of mention that to people and to kids. I talk about how worrying can make us not feel great all around, right? And what are the ways that we can help support our mind in the same way that how can we be kind to other people? How can we be kind to ourselves? How can we show ourselves, the love and the guidance through these types of exercises, right? And like I had mentioned at the beginning, sitting still isn't practical for most people, and isn't practical for most kids either, which is why doing more active meditations can sometimes be really beneficial as well. And just having that kind of, again, it all comes just back to intention for me, right? It all just comes back to intention. And I feel like whatever it is that your intention is going to be kind of what comes out of it for you. And so, when I teach meditation, when I teach yoga, the biggest intention, at least for me as an instructor looking at my students, is that they're finding kind of a deep calm, that they're able to recognize, when their thoughts are getting out of control or controlling them, right? I think I mentioned it in one of our previous sessions about the mind jar, and showing them that, when all of the sparkles are over the place, and last time I mentioned it as an emotion thing, where you have your clear jar when it's clear and calm, that's our brain when we're relaxed and feeling good and we're able to make clear decisions. And then sometimes emotions, and in this case thoughts, come up and like to control everything, right? And so you shake up the jar and all the sparkles are everywhere and you can't see anything anymore, right? When we let our thoughts kind of run the show, it's like it's really impossible to kind of see what the next step is, what your decision's going to be, even just to feel calm at all, because you're kind of in this state of really high stress. Everything's going a little bit crazy in there. And so when you can learn to kind of bring that down, whether it be through being still, using breath work, doing active meditations, or even guided visualizations, those sparkles settle in the jar. And it doesn't mean that the thoughts are gone, because they're going to come in. It's our natural state of being. I find so many people are like, I can't meditate because my thoughts won't stop. And I'm like, they're not supposed to stop. They come in. That's the whole thing that's going to happen. It's like you're almost like sitting on a little seat in the middle of your brain, just watching them come in. That's the intention, right? Is sitting there and watching them come in. You become the observer. And instead of letting them kind of take over the whole show, just like emotions can, like we talked about before, you're watching them and you're deciding, which ones do I actually want? Which ones do I actually want creating my existence moving forward? And just kind of, letting the other ones almost float by like a leaf on a stream, letting it float by and not engaging in it, right? Because I'm sure lots of people experience this. I know I have, where you get kind of in a worry cycle and you're in your meditation and you're watching that thought come in about something that, maybe is horrible and you kind of jump on it and you start spiral. And then 20 minutes has passed and you didn't, you haven't meditated or relaxed at all, because you've just followed this thought to the ends of the earth. You didn't even realize that you were following it for so long, right? And so that's the practice, is being like, oh, I've realized I've gone off. let's come back to this little seat again. And now next time when this thought comes in, I'm going to let it go by, right? And maybe you go down the spiral again and you just keep bringing it back. The intention of meditation is just keep bringing it back to that state of calm. Just keep coming back and you know, almost like Namsa was saying before with like how her intentions are like, you know, bringing in her God and how she has other gods that are kind of like trying to be a part of that. And she's like, get out, get out. It's kind of the same idea, right? Kind of watching them float away so that you can have the intention that you're looking for. So anyways, yeah, I just thought I'd go on a little tangent there.
Carol, and before we go, do you have any words of encouragement for our audience?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. There's a quote here by Sam Harris, which says, how we pay attention to the present moment largely determines the character of our experience and therefore the quality of our lives. And I think that sums that up beautifully. And something that you said, Robin, about how you be kind to other people. There's something I read this morning, and it's a very simple act that you can do about being kind to other people. And you don't actually have to speak with them or be with them, but it's literally wish other people happiness. And it's about just taking a few seconds to think of somebody in your mind and wish them happiness. And just do that at different intervals through the day. And if it's somebody that's maybe annoying you, just stop, think about them, wish them happiness, consciously wish them happiness. And I thought that was a beautiful act to do. So maybe that's just, again, that's something that you can practice that will help you to feel better about yourself, will help to shift your relationship with the world, with other people, with yourself, and help you become much more aware and present and calmer. Because when you can let go of niggles, then your body calms down. And it's like, yeah, I can be happy. So wish other people happiness. What about you, Robin? Is there just
Yeah, that's the one that you're referring to, Carol Ann, is called the loving kindness meditation. So if someone's looking for that, it's called loving kindness. It's it's a beautiful practice, imagining yourself, somebody you love, and maybe somebody that you don't care for that's irritating you, someone maybe an acquaintance. I usually, when I do that one, Carol Ann, I usually imagine when I breathe in, I take away all of their suffering, judgment, pain, all the negative things. And when I breathe out, I send them the love, the kindness, almost like a white light coming in and out. Beautiful, beautiful meditation. That's a great one to use for sure. Yeah. And obviously you can do that where you're kind of supporting others in that. But I also feel like, at least in my experience, meditation is kind of being in tune with your own universe, your internal universe. Right. Obviously, like we talked about, there's so many different types, and you can really, be in tune with other things and your intention behind it. But I feel like at least my daily practice is really about tuning in with myself and kind of what's going on inside. And I find it quite powerful. It can be quite a powerful tool of just like getting to know yourself better. And then from that place, being able to support the people around you. I kind of talk about like that empty cup analogy of like, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And so meditation is a way of kind of filling your cup back up so that you can give 100% to the people around you. That's kind of my final thought.
Oh, I have nothing to add. The empty cup. You can't basically, Robin, you just covered everything with Carol, basically, yes. I think that's all, basically. And for me as well, I would encourage anyone that wants to get into meditation or and just get in touch with people who are professionals so they can guide you through it. It's nice when you are being guided properly. That means even if you want to do your 20 minutes, you will do it properly without having to attract anything. So if you want to get in touch with Robin, please do get in touch with her on social medias, or you can get in touch with her um, through myself or through Ngozi Talk Show page, and follow Carol Ann as well if you want to get in touch with her. And please do. And Carol Ann, you have a challenge coming up in July.
I do. It's a free 5-day writing challenge, 4th of
Uh,
July.
yes, if you want to do that challenge, please get in touch with her.
Mm.
And she has a group as well, so get in touch with her, find out more about what she does and how she can help you as well. And we are here at Ngozi Talk Shows Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. We have different coaches from all walks of life. Whatever your problem that might be, we'll find somebody to help you find your own voice and lead from within. Me, I like people that are leaders, leading from your life. You want to do yoga, get somebody that can teach you properly. It's all about doing things properly and become your own leader as well. And live with grace, everyone, and God bless. We'll see you next week. Have a beautiful weekend.